Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to What Could Go Wrong, the place that, like I said, is the best place to learn what not to do. You know, I guess I say it every single time, but these people just never seem to learn what not to do because they just continually do it because we continually get new posts on these subs. And even though generally these posts are for our enjoyment and we do kind of get a laugh out of them, but at the same time, some of these posts just completely reinforce the fact that humanity is doomed just one way or another. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then, starting right off with leaving the window down in a patrol car, what could go wrong? Now, I feel as I'm going to have a couple of guesses. Oh my goodness, whoa, no way. I thought someone was actually going to kind of pour something in on them to kind of fit a rage, but no, she managed to be her own lockpick and just legged it out there. I mean, realistically, it wasn't a lockpick, it was just stupidity. Because surely that is what you learn day one of training to be a police officer, you know, just don't let the criminals escape, and that's kind of your entire job fulfilled. I mean, I guess to be fair, it does look as though they've got iron bars or something on the windows, so maybe they just expect that no one should be able to fit their arm through, or maybe they've just never had someone try it before, but it still doesn't really excuse the fact as to why they even had the window down in the first place. I just don't understand that. I mean, to be fair, I feel as though the video probably does end a little bit too soon, because realistically, every single time we see one of these, it just, you know, either gets cut off, or that you just see them when you think they're finally free, you just get completely tackled to the ground right at the last second. But then again, at the same time, I can't actually see any officers in the police car unless there was one, or maybe that was a headrest. I'm not really sure, but either way, it certainly doesn't look as though anyone's just frantically getting out of the car to chase it down, so maybe she did just kind of get away and this was the only evidence recorded of her escape. I mean, I guess in saying that, I certainly don't endorse this entire video, because I can only imagine that she was in the cop car for a reason, and then really just running away from the police car is also another criminal offense, or I don't know if it's a criminal offense, but it's still an offense nonetheless, so they're probably going to charge you on top of whatever you did. So hey, maybe we just started out with a double what could go wrong, because obviously we have the police's what could go wrong by leaving the window down, but maybe we also have a what could go wrong in terms of her behalf, because she just doesn't realize yet how much she's escalated this entire situation. What could go wrong having a windshield covered in snow? Now, for those considering we've seen a million videos like this, well, there we go. It actually wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be more of a video where they're driving along the highway and it just flies off and just smashes the person behind them, or the person has to swerve in icy condition, because those ones are just scary. Where I guess at least with this one, even though it is just downright stupid and annoying to deal with, I certainly feel as though it wasn't as scary as a position to be in. But no, every single one of these posts that we always see clearly also belongs in the idiots in cars, because as I'm sure the cold weather connoisseurs know, there were rules and regulations about actually not having a windshield covered in ice, because for this exact reason, and also like the other one I said, you know, where you just have suddenly, I don't know, 200 kilos of frozen water just flying at your face. I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that they've made it that far, because it certainly doesn't seem that they've just turned out of the drive or anything like that. I mean, I guess they do put their windscreen wipers on, so maybe they did just kind of turn out of the drive or something like that, and they just kind of haven't had a chance to do it yet. Oh, you know, you're in such a rush that you just kind of made yourself late. But no, I just don't understand this entire situation of they just kind of had their side window down and have just been kind of driving out of their side windows, because how have they managed to see the entire way to get to the intersection and then just manage to turn a corner and crash into a car? I just don't get it. But even though, like I said, your entire day would be ruined and you just be so annoyed with this person, at least, like I always say, just having a dash cam was just so clearly and so obviously proven who was in the wrong. You know, they very clearly hit you, and they also very clearly had ice all over the windscreen, so they certainly couldn't see anything. And so I guess in that regard, it isn't a surprise about what happened. It's just kind of very avoidable if they did the right thing. And I guess that is always the scariest part about being on the road, you know, just all the other idiots out there, and really it's just absolutely magnified in a cold weather situation where people just go, no, I'm not going to bother getting the ice off. I got to go places, you know, I'll get it off with the windscreen wipers when I just kind of get on my way. And then of course, at least for them, it certainly backfires in their face in kind of a positive way, considering they finally got what was coming to them. But at the same time, for the owner of the car that we're in, it would just be an absolute nightmare, because, you know, you have to deal with a person that is obviously not really the brightest. Or hey, maybe that's a little bit too harsh, but they certainly didn't think about what could go wrong with they just kind of set off with them driving, did they? What could go wrong taking grandma on a boat trip? Oh my goodness, no, don't tell me she's just going to get kind of scooped up by the waves. Oh my goodness, slow down, person. I mean, it doesn't even look as though they're going that fast, but they're certainly kind of getting ripped up by the waves. Look at that. Okay, there you go. You finally slowed down. Oh no. Oh my goodness, what did that poor old grandma? She was actually tolerating it pretty well until the moment where she just got completely submerged. Look at that. And then just absolutely slammed on her back, and it looks as though she ended up on the ground, because she certainly isn't in the seat anymore. But no, like I said, these guys are just having way too much fun, and certainly not thinking about the poor old lady that is in the front of the boat, you know, because standing at the back of the boat, you're certainly not going to be feeling the full effects. You're just absolutely thumping as you hit the ocean every single time. So I guess in that regard, it's kind of similar to the last place, you know, these people were just not thinking about anyone else than themselves, and even though they certainly were the main victim of this entire stunt, at the same time, they got soaked as well. I mean, at least I'll certainly happily admit that I was wrong in terms of the fact that I thought she might end up overboard, which really can present an entire new array of issues to deal with, and even just dangers and hazards. And so I'm certainly glad that we can see that she does end up inside the boat, not outside the boat, especially because that guy just kind of very slowly moves forward, kind of goes, oh, what's over here? I'm sure she'll be right. She'll get over it. She's had plenty of other days like this. And really, looking at it more, I feel as though what the weirdest part about the entire thing is obviously, like I said, they're cruising along probably way too fast, but then they get up to a bigger wave and he does slow down, but then right after they do crash after that, he just floors it into the next one, and that's where the entire massive just absolutely splatters where he comes on board. Like, look at the amount of height that the boat gets out of the water. Isn't it insane? I mean, it certainly makes sense because that's what physics does and flotation and buoyancy fancy and whatnot, but it was certainly in this case at grandma's expense. So I certainly hope that she was alright. She kind of got up immediately, went, come on, again, as always, like a roller coaster. But really, looking at the roller coaster that she just went through, I can't imagine that she came off completely unscathed, because that is one hell of a ride. Now, I haven't even clicked on it, but I don't feel as though the next post that we're up to is going to be the most YouTube friendly thing. And so there you go. You can read and get all the context you probably need for this entire post, but really, people, just come on, stop being this dumb. But anyway, moving right along to what could go wrong if I pour molten metal in a freshly cut wood log. Now, I feel as I'm just scared from the start because I have molten metal in the title for what could go wrong post, so that certainly doesn't sound like a good combo. But no, hopefully this person didn't get absolutely covered. It was only the camera that would have got destroyed. I mean, I can only imagine that it's aluminium, so it probably doesn't have a massive melting temperature, you know. It's certainly not going to be a temperature to laugh at. It's just not as hot as steel. But really, I just don't understand why they're doing this in the first place. Are they just trying to make a billet of aluminium by hollowing out a log and pouring molten metal into it? I mean, that doesn't sound like a very good idea in the first place, and I don't really understand why anyone would want to do that. But if nothing else, surely you want to do a little bit of research in the materials that you're using, kind of what temperature they're at, and then from there, once you know the aluminium melts at, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 700 degrees, surely you just wouldn't choose wood as your melting or your casting die. I mean, I must say, I don't really understand why the thing erupted instead of just catching fire to the log. I mean, I guess if it was super green, then it would make sense in terms of just all that moisture within the log is suddenly just evaporating, or not evaporating, but just instantly turning to steam and finding the path of least resistance through the molten metal. But really, I just come back to the fact that I just don't understand why anyone would want to do this in the first place. I mean, I remember watching a King of Random video years and years and years ago, rest in peace to Grant Thompson, but from memory, what he did is actually just get a whole block of styrofoam and then just kind of sculpt the piece that he wanted, then just encase it in sand, and then when you pour in the metal, it just instantly vaporizes, and then after you let it cool for however long, you just have a perfect cast of whatever the styrofoam piece you had before. I mean, like I said, it vaporizes the styrofoam instantly, and so it just releases this massive amount of black smoke, I'm fairly sure, and so you certainly don't want to be breathing any of that stuff in. But in saying that, if I absolutely had to pick one and only one, I feel as though I'd take the smoke over just getting liquid metal all over me. I don't know about you, but really, people, just stop messing with things that are clearly dangerous and you just refuse to do, or just haven't done anywhere near enough research about the entire topic and how to properly do it before you go and do something like this and kind of end up with, well, I don't know how they ended up, but really, obviously it didn't look too good, did it? And really, even if you go about this just kind of honing your craft over time, just at least do it safely and kind of think about what could go wrong before you go and do it. What could go wrong if I try and make my escape while I'm in court? Well, I feel as though we all know how this is going to play out. They're certainly going to get tackled, or someone's going to be able to stop them with something. Oh my goodness, he actually got further than I expected them to. Here we go. We're going to, oh nice. So I thought it was just going to be the end of the, holy moly, whoa, okay, I'm going to have to be blurring that one because there is no way that YouTube's going to like that. Look at these guys, I'm going to have to cut it out again, but these guys tried so hard to save the person, but holy moly, that was a massive hit that guy took. And all for what? You're handcuffed. You didn't look over the railing before you just decided to go down there, and then really you ended up in a way worse position than what you were already in, because I can guarantee that after you were looked at, and hopefully he's alright in the long term, but I can absolutely guarantee that he's going to be back in that room right there facing probably more charges than before, because he just kind of ran away or tried to escape, whatever the kind of term is in terms of being in court. And honestly, taking a hit like that, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some long-term damage. I mean, you got to be lucky if you don't. I mean, like I said, it is what it is, but I'm going to have to cut out just some little segments, but I feel as though with your imagination, you can kind of connect the dots and understand how he got from A to B. But yeah, what can I say? This is just a clear-cut case of what could go wrong and just not thinking before acting whatsoever. I mean, he obviously just made the decision to leave the courtroom, but really, how do you think that that is the time and place and even just the best method to go about making your escape? Like I said, you're handcuffed, so I don't know how you're going to be getting those off. And unless the guy knew exactly what the time was and had a getaway driver just pre-planned out the front gate, I just don't understand how we thought he was going to be able to outrun anyone just with his hands tied together as well. You know, you certainly can't run too well if your hands are tied together, let alone the fact that you probably just broke, I don't know how many bones just by taking that fall. And so even though with the first place we definitely saw a successful attempt in terms of what we saw, like I said, it might have changed 5 seconds down the road, but this video certainly carried on long enough for us to see the entire extent of what happened here, you know, because if the video was just cut off right after we left the first room, then I guess it would be exactly the same as the last one. But really, when we see every single 3 of these angles, you certainly understand that he did not come off nearly as well as that other lady did, and certainly didn't come off as well as I can only imagine that he probably would have liked to. Bald head, mesh hat, no sunblock, what could go wrong? Oh, we'll obviously know exactly what is going. Oh my goodness, yeah, that is such, you can actually see the perfect outline of the entire thing. But no, it's a shame because I can understand how someone could easily make a mistake like this, because regardless of the fact that a lot of people wear hats just for the fashion, hats still do serve a utilitarian purpose and really do quite well if keeping the sun off your head most of the time. So it is definitely a shame that the hat he chose is definitely a mesh hat, you know, because obviously if it was a solid hat, you know, whether it be cotton or I don't know, canvas or whatever the hat might be made out of, then obviously this very niche issue would never have arisen and you wouldn't be looking like a tennis ball. And so for the first time ever, or if nothing else, just at least for this month, I feel as though I should just give this one a pass, or at least just take the side of this guy, because like I said, I just want to believe that he did actually think about it, but he just didn't think about it enough. And so in that case, I feel as though it isn't a true what could go wrong, because I feel as though generally with what could go wrong, it's just the fact that people have clearly not thought about it whatsoever, or if they have thought about it, they just clearly made the wrong decision. And even though, yes, he's obviously a grown adult, he should probably know better just to even wear some sunscreen. I do kind of feel bad for the poor guy, and he's clearly embarrassed about the entire thing, and maybe that's just why he's watching Nemo. Maybe he just wants a little bit of a pick-me-up movie. And with shotgun tries to rob the wrong house. I feel as though this is going to be another one with cuts. Alright, then what kind of just ridiculous are we about to see here? Holy moly, the fact that these people are just being held at gunpoint. Whoa, look at this guy go. Wow, I can only imagine that the shotgun wasn't actually loaded, because surely the guy would have kind of reacted out of fear and just pulled the trigger. But wow, I certainly can't say it's recommended, but it's incredible that the guy had the fight or flight instincts just to go straight at the gun barrel and just kind of wrestle the guy exactly down the stairs. I mean, I guess things say that. I feel as though this is exactly the kind of scenario that would be going through the intruder's head just in his worst case scenario. I mean, obviously as the intruder, you would never want this to happen. You just want things to go smoothly, and even though it's definitely not a good thing, that is just what you would want to happen. But then when someone so calmly walks up to you while you've got a shotgun pointed at them and just completely disarms your entire operation, that definitely kind of has to be admired in some respect. I mean, I must say my favorite part about this entire clip is just right at the end when it says wrong house buster. It is such a just a demand, or I don't even know what to call it, but it's such a powerful sentence of the entire thing. And really, even though the intruder is clearly already on his way out, you would certainly just want to be legging it. I mean, it doesn't look as though he can because he's got hold of his leg, but you would just want to be getting as far away as possible, because like I said, this guy's just stare down the barrel and then all of a sudden you're in a leg lock and you can't go away. Exactly like they said in the piece, you just can't believe how the tables have turned on him so quickly and easily. I mean, like I said, based on what we can see here, I can only imagine that the gun wasn't really loaded and it's just more used as an intimidation device as anything, because I feel as though if someone actually went in with the intent to actually being able to pull the trigger at some point, you know, whether or not they have to is a completely different story, but if someone actually went in with the idea that that might be even a possible scenario, I feel as though they actually would have played out in this scenario. So yeah, what can I say? I have absolutely no idea how much of this video clip is actually going to be allowed on YouTube, so I'm probably going to have to do some research on that as well. But hey, I'm sure exactly like the last one that I had to chop up on below, you definitely get the idea of what is going on here. And really, it's a pretty uncommon situation to be in, let alone capture on camera, let alone actually just play out like that. But hey, I feel as though if nothing else, this post certainly just acts as a criminal deterrent, because there's no one, surely, that regardless of what they were going after, would actually want to end up in the same situation as this guy, just kind of bound by the leg and obviously caught in the end. And so now finally for the top of the line for what could go wrong, we have what could go wrong when you try to rob someone who is loading the car with gasoline. Let's see, we're going to have another one like the last one, and we're going to actually be able to show this one. Obviously this is security footage. Oh my goodness, the way that these guys just, whoa, I did not know the petrol pumps are that powerful. That is such a weapon. Look at that. I thought it would just kind of dribble at the end. I mean, I guess thinking about it certainly makes sense that it needs to be that fast in terms of watching how quickly the numbers can go up, but I always just assumed that that was just because it's such a wide nozzle, you know, it's probably twice the diameter of a normal garden hose, and so, you know, you can put a lot of throughput through that. But no, it's incredibly quick thinking, and it's a perfect deterrent, because there is no way that someone isn't going to run away if you're just covering them in petrol. And hey, really, we have two posts in a row that are just such perfect criminal deterrents. It is not funny. The fact that this guy literally has a deterrent on his hands, and the last guy, which is a martial arts or a ninja. And also, it just makes me wonder, is this the first car that these guys are trying to steal, or have they just done a whole bundle of them, never encountered anything like this? Because it would certainly catch you off guard either way. You've got everything together just to make this plan go flawlessly, and really just all unravels just with a couple of quick sprays of petrol. And so hey, who knows, maybe they thought this was going to be a possibility. They probably didn't, but maybe they did. But whatever the case, they're certainly going to be reconsidering their entire operations after having this happen to them. And honestly, hopefully they just reconsider their entire life choices and just turn away from a life of crime. Just go, nah, that was enough for me. Being covered in petrol once in a lifetime is certainly enough for me. But anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the one for what could go wrong. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the algorithm things down below. Let me know if you had a favorite post out of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now. Or hey, maybe you just want to consider subscribing so you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.